Welcome to this Dreamweaver tutorial. My name is Daniel Walter Scott and I'm a trainer here at Bring Your Own Laptop. This training course is for people new to Dreamweaver and people new to web design in general. In this topic we're going to talk about image types. Okay, so I've brought up here in InDesign our little notes that you can download from our website at bringyourownlaptop.com.au and look for the resources button and you will find the Dreamweaver tutorials, and here you can download the PDFs. Okay. So we're going to talk about the different image types you can use on a website. So the first one that you might have heard of is a TIFF. Now that can't be used online. It's really good for print. So those of you who are graphic designers coming into web design, you can't use a TIFF online. It just doesn't show. So you're left with three different image types you can use. One is a JPEG, okay? One is a GIF, one is a PNG. Now, a brief overview of those three. JPEGs are really good at photos, okay, and photography. GIFs are really good at things like icons and logos and type. And PNGs are really good for things that need transparent backgrounds. Okay, that's a broad overview. In a bit more detail, a JPEG is great for photographs because it uses loads of colors. It has something like 16.8 million variations of color, as opposed to something like a GIF that only has 256. Okay, so JPEGs are great for photos. The other benefit of using a JPEG is that it uses something called a lossy format. You can see it there. Okay, the lossy format is all that means is that it can be scaled down or different quality sliders, so you can lose data. Okay, which is really good for compression. It means that if you ever use something like Photoshop to save a JPEG, it gives you a quality slider. For print, you probably want it maxed out as high as it'll go, but for on websites, you want to kind of drag that slider as low as it will go to get the file size down, but without losing any of the detail or as much as too much of the quality. So JPEGs are great because they have loads of images. They're really good because the quality can be adjusted to give you a lower file size. And generally, JPEGs work really good at making small file sizes for images. Okay, so let's look at the GIF. We talked about the GIF. One of the drawbacks for a GIF is that it only has 256 colors it can use. The positive is that it is very small, often smaller than a JPEG. The other perk for a GIF is that it is really good for text and images and logos, because the way that a GIF works, okay, the way that it's put together is that it retains a really crisp edge on things like, on really high contrast things like type and like logos or small icons that don't have too many colors. Okay, so GIFs are really good for those sorts of things. Buttons, icons, logos, any sort of clip art style of graphics that have really simple colors that don't have more than 256. Okay, so the last one is PNG. Now, PNG 8 you don't want to use. Okay, there are PNG 24s and 32s. Both of those will work. Okay, so PNG 8 is a bit old school. 24 or 32, depending on which program you use, will save out this option. Okay, and the reason we use it is that it has the best of both worlds for GIF and JPEG. Okay, it's able to show really crisp edge type and logos like a GIF can, and it does really well at showing images because it has loads of colors like JPEGs does. But the problem with the PNGs is that the file sizes get really big. It uses something called a lossless format as opposed to JPEG's lossy. Lossy means that you can lose data to get the compression down, whereas JPEGs don't have that kind of compression. PNG is always going to be good. It's as good as it's ever going to be. There's no low quality PNG. So the problem with that is that the file sizes tend to creep up higher than a GIF or a JPEG. So when it comes to web design, it's a trade-off between quality and file size. And file size is a big part of it. So if I can use a JPEG to get a smaller file size of the PNG and you can't tell a visual difference, I'm going to use a JPEG. Okay, so the reason you would use a PNG is that it has transparency. GIF has transparency, but it's very, very poor. Okay, it's only able to turn pixels completely see-through or completely opaque, whereas a PNG is able to show you multi-level transparency, great for drop shadows and things that need to have a transparent background. You might have an image or a product, you've taken a photograph, and there needs to be a transparent background to show the background in your website. Okay, I hope that's helped explain the difference between JPEG, GIF, and PNG. Now, it can be a little confusing, so what we'll do in the next tutorial is we'll look at using Photoshop to create these images so that you can really see the difference between the two formats or three formats. Alright, so that's the end of the tutorial. We'll see you in the next one.